Hello, hello. It's so good to be live again. It's been a while since I've done one. Um, just in case you don't know, I am Semily Sherry, and you are joining me here on my Triple Moon page. So I want to say a big hello to start and a shout out to Claire. Hello, Claire, who very kindly commented and gave me the subject for today, which is self-love. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. Now, it's a huge subject. So obviously I'm only going to be doing probably about half an hour today, so I can't cover every little nuance and every aspect of this subject. And obviously, because we're all unique beings, and wonderfully so, we will all have slightly different causes for our lack of self-love or our struggling with self-love, and these will depend on both the soul wounds that we carry from past lives and that we've then brought into this incarnation, and also obviously the human personality wounds that we've suffered in this lifetime, in this incarnation. So depending on what our upbringing has been, and issues and situations, traumas that we've suffered in childhood, these can all add up to problems with self-love. And so everyone's going to have a slightly different source of that problem, and therefore a different solution. So the other thing to say is, because of this, because it can have its roots in past lives, a long soul journey, and all of our current incarnation, improving self-love, strengthening self-love, in my experience, is a lifetime's work. It's an ongoing process. There is no quick and easy fix to go, there you go, I love myself. I wish there was. I've been working on this for a long time now, and I often will say to clients, it's a difficult one, and although I can say that I like myself all of the time now, there are times when I love myself and times when I don't quite make it. I'm just being honest, it's hard. So what I'm going to share here is more of my own, I guess, the three most effective personal tips that I've found have worked for me. And again, they're not a thing to do once and then you're healed. It doesn't work that way. You have to constantly keep working with them. So the first one is, as you may be aware, it's your thoughts that come first, and then your thoughts will trigger the feelings that you feel. And sometimes we don't notice that until we're feeling the lack of self-love, and then you start spiraling downwards. And so the biggest thing for me was catching that inner dialogue, was first of all recognizing that inner dialogue, hearing the phrases that you're saying to yourself in your mind. Sometimes you can think it's your own voice talking, but it will often be a voice from the past, either from a past life or from your childhood. It will be someone else's voice, actually, words that you've learned or picked up. But the important thing is to recognize it as soon as you hear it, and then to practice that catching of it in the moment. And then gradually, as you do that over time, you'll get quicker and quicker at doing it. So what I tell people to start doing first, because it's really helpful, is when you start getting in that low mood and you realize you're kind of blaming yourself and thinking you're worthless, get a pen, get a piece of paper, any old scrap will do, and just start writing down whatever is going through your head. This is a really good way to pick up the phrases and the thoughts that start to trigger those feelings. And you can do that a few times until you feel like you've really got that nailed. You know what you say to yourself. It's so true. The saying is, you are your own worst critic. and it's usually us that triggers it because we've absorbed that self-talk, and that's what we do. So writing is great at first. I used to do it a lot. And sometimes that can help you identify whose voice it is. Sometimes as you're writing, you can think, oh my God, that was a teacher at school that said that to me. Or, oh, I was in a play and I felt like I was doing really badly and the director made this derogatory comment, something like that. But you can often recognize someone else's voice there, and immediately what that helps you to do is take a step back from it and go, that's not true. And so immediately you've got some distance there. But the ideal you want to get to is that you're able to catch yourself as you're doing it, and then you can first of all stop. You just say to yourself, stop, I'm not accepting this, I know this isn't true. And then try and reframe those thoughts, change your state. So have a phrase, and again, this is where it helps to be really personal. So I can't do that for you now in a general talk, but what I will often do is help people to write a phrase. So you can have a simple phrase like, I am worthy, I am enough, I am intelligent, whatever it is to fit the lack of self-love that usually occurs for you. So as soon as those feelings, those thoughts start running through your mind and you can feel those feelings welling up in you, you say stop, and then you start to repeat to yourself the phrase that you've chosen to correct it. So that's one of my first tips. And where I am now is, because it still happens, I'm not perfect. I don't think there is anyone on the planet who is. But what happens now is I actually catch myself the moment I start to feel it, and sometimes the moment I start thinking it. And that's great because I can stop it straight away. Whereas it used to go on for a little while and I'd start to get in that downward spiral of mood. But that doesn't happen anymore. But that's taken a lot of years to get to that point. So be consistent, be disciplined with that. Connected into that is when you catch yourself doing that, you have to have a sense of humour. Treat it lightly. I cannot tell you how much laughter and having a sense of humour has rescued me over the years. It immediately lifts your mood, and it diffuses that kind of heaviness and blame energy. It raises the vibration almost immediately. So, when you're noticing yourself doing that, don't then start to heap self-criticism upon yourself, which is only going to make it worse. You may want to do that. I know I used to at first. But instead, just very lightly go, look at that, Semele, you're at it again. Just something really light that will, again, shift you out of that mood and that heavy feeling. And then you can respond, as I mentioned before. So sense of humour, it's why on my email signature I sign love, light and laughter, because I think it is one of the best healers. Having that sense of humour about yourself, life is not for taking seriously. So the other big thing for me, I know, and probably for many others I don't know, is stop comparing yourself to others. That way lies a huge lack of self-love and self-worth, because what happens is you start looking at other people and going, well, why am I not like that? Why am I not as good as they are at so-and-so? Why am I? And then you're absolutely ignoring your own qualities and talents. So I know it's really difficult in this day and age because you're on social media and everywhere you're being bombarded by people presenting their hugely successful, hugely happy, hugely wonderful lives. What you have to remember is, everyone has some pain and suffering in their lives. What it looks like on the surface is not what it's like to live it. So that's often not as true. So that kind of why am I not like them thing that you're projecting at them, they're having their down days too. They're having their difficulties as well. So stop comparing yourself to them and instead start to focus on your own gifts and talents. And if you want to know where to start, ask your friends. Ask the good friends you can trust, who really do love you. ask them what your gifts and talents are. It's so much easier for someone else to tell you what they are. I still struggle when I have to come to write it down. And so if you ask friends to say, can you please just give me a list of what you see as my strengths and my talents and abilities, and that's a good place to start, and remind yourself of that. And then finally, a regular meditation that I still practice, that I think is great to augment and improve self-love, is a very simple compassion meditation, and I'm actually going to lead you through a very quick one right now. So this particular version of it, it's very similar to Tonglen in some ways, which is a sort of Tibetan Buddhist meditation, because it is about self-compassion. And this particular version of it, I heard from, I can't remember what the talk was specifically about, but it was William Bloom, who's a really wonderful spiritual teacher. And it was he who first came up with it. And I've been using it with clients since, because it's simple and it's so powerful, and it gives you a way in to generating those feelings of self-love, first directed at something else, and then you can turn it in on yourself once you've kind of built those feelings within you. Because when you get yourself into that state, I totally understand, I get it, it's difficult to muster up any love or sense of worth for yourself when you're really struggling under the weight of it. So I'm going to teach you this now. It's really simple. And the great thing about it is not only will it increase your self-love and your feelings of self-worth, but it has a massive healing effect all around on your whole system, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, because it's been proved now that it stimulates the vagus nerve, which is extremely important in our rest and relaxation and healing mechanism. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, again, rest, relaxation, healing. So your body and your whole being can kind of relax and do a big exhale, and you can start to heal yourself. And as we know, healing energy does not just flow physically, it flows mentally, emotionally, and spiritually too. So here we go, very quick meditation. So I always like to start by just gently getting yourself into a comfortable position. It helps if you can have your spine as straight as possible, but not so that you're feeling kind of rigid or tense. And then begin by taking in 3 deep breaths. And I always recommend that you breathe in through your nose and then breathe out through your mouth. And it can help to kind of relax and let go of tension if you kind of sigh at the same time. So the first deep breath, I would go and again in through the nose, last one, in through the nose, out through the mouth with a sigh. Wonderful. And now gently close your eyes, and we're going to engage your imagination now. So what I want you to do is to cup your hands on your lap, and I want you to imagine that you're holding a tiny animal, a very tiny, very vulnerable, very delicate animal of some sort, a bird, a mouse, whatever brings out the most compassionate, protective feelings in you. Imagine that little being cupped in your hands, still with your eyes closed, and in your imagination engage and use all your senses to bring up that image. So feel the little warm body in your hands, feel the weight of them, the very slight weight of them in your hands, feel the texture of their fur or feathers or skin, whatever it is this little vulnerable creature has. And then imagine with your mind's eye, you're gazing down at this little being that's entirely dependent on you for its protection and for its care. And as you gaze down at it, allow your heart chakra to open and just allow all the care, protective feelings, compassion and love for this little vulnerable creature flow out towards it. Just allow that feeling to build for a minute or two. So you really want to feel like your heart chakra has opened and love is flowing freely and unconditionally. And once you've got to that space, I want you to just allow the image of the little animal to fade, allow your hands to drop onto your lap if they're not already. And then turn all that love in on yourself. Turn it inward and down into your own body. All that protective, loving, compassionate, caring energy you are now directing in towards yourself. And with every breath you take in now, you're breathing in the ability to generate more love. And as you breathe out, you're breathing it out within and towards your own being. So you're taking in more love on the in-breath, and you're breathing it out throughout your whole being, body, mind, emotions, spirit, on the out-breath. And just keep that going. Anytime your attention wanders, your mind starts to kick in, you just take your attention back to your breath. So you're breathing in love, and then you're diffusing it throughout your being as you breathe out. Breathing in love, breathing it out and diffusing it throughout your being. And if you're able to, just notice any shifts or changes in your body. Is it feeling more relaxed, less tension? Notice if any uncomfortable areas or pain is easing. Notice how you're feeling. Have you become calmer? Are you feeling more relaxed within yourself? And your thoughts too. Has your mind stopped racing as much as it was? Does your mind feel more empty, able to let go of thoughts and worries? And how is your being? And by that I mean the kind of sense of the boundary of your body. You'll have your eyes closed, so you'll only be able to do this by feeling. But often when we do meditations like this, we have a sense of expansion, as if the boundaries of our being are wider than they were. And this awareness of what happens to us is one of the first things I teach when I'm teaching any kind of spiritual development, psychic awareness. Because this ability to notice every shift and change in our being on all levels is what makes us so able to recognize what's happening both within us and without. Just keep breathing in love and diffusing it out through your being as you breathe out. I'll let you do that for another minute, and then I'll come back to pick you up. Okay, wonderful. So just take one last deep breath, bringing yourself fully back to the external world, gently opening your eyes and just taking in the environment around you, feeling the chair beneath you or your feet on the floor, just bringing yourself fully back into the present moment and your current environment. So that meditation is one I do regularly. And the more you practice it, the stronger the feelings will get. But that starting point of being able to direct that self-love and self-compassion towards another being is so helpful, because it can be hard to jump straight into feeling that for yourself when that is an issue and a challenge for you. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I'm just going to see if I can go up and see if there are any comments or if anyone is here. If anyone has a question before I disappear, you can put it in the comments and it should show up for me here. So I'll wait a minute or so. And while I'm waiting, I will probably be sharing more of this kind of thing in my private Soul Spiral Facebook group. So after this video has uploaded, then I'll probably update the post beneath and I'll put a link to that group so that if you're not already a member, you can join in. And if you have any questions, if you're watching this video later and you have any questions, then please feel free to post them in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I can't always answer absolutely immediately, but I do check my page and my comments and notifications regularly, so I can come back and look at those for you. So there's no comments appearing yet, so I think I will leave it there. It's been really lovely to spend some of my Sunday afternoon with you, as rainy and thundery as it has been. You've been a nice bright spot in my Sunday afternoon. So thank you very much, and I'll share with you again soon. Blessings to you.